They're like, wow, that took a twist.
That's signing your contract to doctor? The tropical low positioned over what? Positioned over who?
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Alexis. Yeah, and a $2.
This is NBC Palm Springs.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Sanchez. Gina Lamont has the night off. More than 150 prominent U.S. physicians, nurses, teachers, and scientists are urging political leaders to shut down the country and start over. They're worried about rising coronavirus case numbers. And today, California has set another new one-day record for deaths. Statisticians from the CDC said COVID-19 will end up as a top 10 leading cause of death this year. Let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers from Riverside County and the entire Coachella Valley. Over 650 new cases were reported in the county today. 169 of those were from our valley. 0 new deaths were reported in Riverside County, but just yesterday, the county reported 28 deaths. We end the week with 24 COVID-related deaths in just days here locally. Those staggering numbers as hospital staff still struggle to treat sick patients. It's been a week since a medical military team arrived to help Eisenhower Health with their COVID surge. But how are they doing 7 days later? And are numbers improving? Our Kitty Alvarado has an update for us tonight. Kitty.
Well, we do have some good news. The team arrived at a time when the hospital was overwhelmed with patients infected with coronavirus. Their ICU was especially full, and their staff was weary after working for months on end through the crisis. Riverside County is still on the state's watch list, in part because of the continued high rate of spread and hospitalizations from people infected by COVID-19. Jose Arballo with the county health department says what's more worrisome is the spike in deaths. In the past few days, the county has reported about 24 deaths from COVID-19 just in the Coachella Valley.
They were all from relatively recent. A lot of times when we have the bigger number of deaths days, they are over 3 or 4 weeks.
All of the cases are putting a strain on local hospitals. That's why the 60th Air Wing Medical Group from Travis Air Force Base has been helping Eisenhower Health. They've been here for a week.
They've been totally awesome since they got here. Very much a can-do attitude. They hit the ground running, ready to go.
The 21-person team made up of doctors, physician's assistants, nurses, and respiratory therapists is assigned to the COVID isolation units. When the hospital reached out for help, they were at 100% capacity in their ICU and 80% in the rest of the hospital.
That would have been extremely difficult for us to maintain that level for very long because the physical and mental demands of caring for these patients is just so high.
Now they're seeing a downward trend. They have about 6 beds available in the ICU, and the hospital is now at 70% capacity. That, combined with the additional help in critical units, is giving staff a shift to rest and administration time to plan.
We're not just sitting back resting and thinking that we've got everything under control. We're using that time to try to be sure that when they leave, we are prepared to take over completely.
While 21 people added to a staff of 2,000 doesn't sound like a lot, the military unit has done more than give the staff a much-needed break.
A morale boost, just to have some outside help, that just really lifts your heart to know that someone's coming to help you.
And Dr. Williamson says he hopes this trend continues, and he's thankful to the community who's working hard to lower those numbers. I'm Kitty Alvarado.
All right, thank you, Kitty. And just into our newsroom, the Riverside County Fair and National Date Festival has been canceled. The festival will now take place in February of 2022. Officials say it was a difficult decision, but with the fairgrounds being used now as a testing site and no end in sight for the pandemic, the fair had to be canceled. Governor Newsom vows to put in place more protections for essential workers, saying he promises to push lawmakers to pass a relief package. The governor noted the pandemic is disproportionately affecting people of color, particularly Latinos. That's because many Latinos are working essential jobs like food service, farm work, manual labor, according to Newsom. Newsom did not announce any concrete plan, but spoke extensively about the need for more legislation. Elementary schools located in counties on California's monitoring list can reopen campuses for in-person classes, but with a waiver. School and district leaders must start the request for a waiver in consultation with teachers, parents, and community-based organizations. No word yet if any local elementary schools will apply for that waiver. Ordered to close their indoor business, local salons and barber shops are taking their work outside with approval from the state. But in the desert, where temperatures are consistently in the triple digits during the day, can salons even work outdoors? Our Nico Payne caught up with business owners who are frustrated with the circumstances. He's live now from Palm Desert with more for us. Nico.
The owner of the Patio Barber Shop here in Palm Desert started cutting hair outside shortly after Governor Newsom's announcement. He is now closed as it's simply too hot, and salon owners share with me the frustrations they face with these limitations. After the governor's announcement that nail salons and barber shops would have to move operations outdoors or close, local salon owner Jeanette Charnay was frustrated and heartbroken.
First, I was kind of like, wow, what is that going to mean for us? Because we were in a 120-degree heat wave. We put a lot into being COVID safe, along with everything else. It cost money for the plexiglass dividers. That was the last thing we did just before they closed us again.
And although operations can continue outdoors, Charnay says it is not possible for her clientele. And local barber Joe Hernandez agrees.
It's not you're in and out in 15 minutes or 30 minutes. We're a full-service salon. Sitting outside for that amount of time, it just doesn't work here. But for a barbershop, I think it's okay.
A lot of people don't realize how expensive it is to move from one business to another. It's like you're opening a whole new venue.
Hernandez has been at this location in Palm Desert for over 40 years and says this is the second time he has had to move operations outdoors.
We've done it once before when there was a lack of power, and we have to move them outside to continue the haircuts. But not like this. This is a little more serious.
And customers are appreciative of the services after going months without haircuts.
Keep the distance, he washes his hands. I feel absolutely safe. I go to Walmart every day. Why not come here?
Business owners know they have to cooperate with the governor's orders, but it's the uncertainty they're most worried about.
We don't really have any hard facts right now on what they actually are going to do. I have to say personally, I believe that we need that as a community all over to be able to make it.
And business owners tell me they are happy to still be able to provide services outside and say cooperation is key in getting through this pandemic. Reporting live, I'm Nico Payne, NBC Palm Springs.
Coronavirus coverage brought to you by East Valley COVID-19 testing site, serving residents of eastern Coachella Valley.
Usually we take a look at a live cam right now, so that's why I was fixing my necklace. You caught me. Not right now, but we're gonna send things over to Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett. Didn't catch him by surprise though. He's ready, Mike.
I got you.
Here we go.
We'll show you some live cams coming up. It was a gorgeous day across the Coachella Valley. Once again, wonderfully below average. 105 is what we achieved today, very similar to what we saw yesterday, and 3 degrees below the 30-year average for today's date, and nowhere near record territory. Remember, a couple weekends ago, we were in that 121 range. A couple years ago, we were as well. 2018, we were 121 on today's date. So we got that going for us. It looks like we'll get to carry this trend into the weekend, although we will see those numbers tick up slightly. Take advantage. It gets warm again next week. And another great thing about today, we started 4 degrees below average in the overnights, got ourselves in the mid 70s there. 78's the 30-year average. 74 is what we got. Record set back in 1958 was 62. Okay, we weren't there, but we still did all right. Take a look outside right now. It's currently 103 at Palm Springs International. Wind has been coming in stubbornly from the southeast today. We've been seeing some gusts up to about 20 miles an hour. It's blowing a little bit of dust into the atmosphere. You'll notice that during the sunset tonight, and humidity at 17%. We'll take a look at the rest of the evening. We will cool very quickly. We'll take a look at the wind as well. Here's what you need to know. The big story for the weekend. Temperatures will remain regulated on Saturday and Sunday, but as I mentioned, it warms up again next week. I'll tell you the whole story coming up.
All right, thank you, Mike. Some local nurses say enough is enough. They want city officials to start taking action to prevent the rise in COVID cases. They say their hospitals are understaffed and nurses are being overworked. Olivia Sandusky joins us now with more. Olivia.
Sarah, when they say overworked, they're specifically talking about the ratio of patients to nurses at our local hospitals, which has been increasing lately. But the mayor of Indio says they're taking several measures to help reduce case numbers and provide some relief for our medical staff.
The hospital's so full and busy and we're tired, so remember, everyone, wear your mask.
Erin Turan posts a live update for her Facebook followers. The Desert Regional nurse says the pandemic is wearing out medical staff.
Nurses are working out of ratio, they're working long hours, and they are exhausted, and this is just the beginning of this thing.
Nurses typically work under a 1-to-4 nurse-to-patient ratio, but recently Desert Regional and Eisenhower Health were approved for a waiver that allows nurses to work with more patients as case numbers rise. And now Turan is calling on her city council for help.
Our numbers, especially in my city, the city of Indio, are extremely high. We need to get all of our public officials out in front of this issue.
Indio leads the Coachella Valley with over 2,300 COVID-19 cases and more than 50 deaths. And council members say the concerns of medical staff aren't going unnoticed.
The city of Indio is making sure we do our part to lessen the load on people coming into the hospitals or into medical facilities. So we've done a lot with partnerships with different agencies, including CVAG, League of California Cities, the Mayor's Association, and then obviously a lot of nonprofits.
The mayor says they were one of the first Valley cities to require masks in businesses. They've given out PPE to senior citizens, put up signage, and established multiple testing sites. He also says any new suggestions are welcome.
We do hear them, and we'd like to do more. And if you can come up with some programs or thoughts that the city of Indio can implement that you feel that will be able to help us to stop the spread, we're all ears and we'll definitely back you up.
Erin and other nurses do have a rally planned to bring some attention to the working conditions of nurses here in the Coachella Valley. That is set to take place 1 week from today. Olivia Sandusky, NBC Palm Springs.
All right, thank you, Olivia. Palm Springs City Council invited Riverside County Health Officer Dr. Cameron Kaiser to join in on last night's 9-hour-long city council meeting. Dr. Kaiser said overall the city's doing well in response and the numbers reflect it. The city did pass an extension on the eviction moratorium. The order now expires at the end of September. One of 6 people accused in the killings of Coachella Valley couple Audrey and Jonathan pleads not guilty to murder. Aaron Bernal, was arrested Tuesday along with 2 others. 3 months into the investigation, NBC Palm Springs broke the story that Bernal was a person of interest. A source told us Bernal was a friend of Audrey's and the two may have dated. 3 other people were charged last month. With $600 in extra unemployment benefits set to run out, we're looking at the latest from Washington when we come back. Has Congress come up with a plan to help the tens of millions of Americans facing homelessness? If an extension isn't passed, we'll take a look after the break.
When we welcome our viewers here in the West, what the U.S. says about that encounter between an American fighter jet and an Iranian airliner caught on video. Was it a close call? Also, my interview with the head of the Los Angeles School District about why he's keeping classrooms closed on Nightly News.
Lawmakers are going home for the weekend without any progress on a new coronavirus relief package. Millions of Americans are out of work still and are in fear of losing their homes. Here's Regina Lamont with more.
Businesses locked down, millions of people out of work.
It's been very, very difficult.
And getting harder. Republicans struggling to reach an agreement on a new relief package, going home for the weekend without beginning negotiations with the Democrats. A primary sticking point, expanded unemployment benefits, which expire at the end of the month.
This is the United States of America. So let's find out how we can work together to go forward.
Many who need the funds now also facing an end on the moratorium for evictions. Single mom Mercedes Borges just got an eviction notice.
Every parent wants to give their kid a home, somewhere safe to be.
She's getting some last-minute assistance from local county funds. Still, as many as 28 million families are in jeopardy of losing their homes, with the virus continuing to spread faster now than at any other time during the pandemic, as the president continues to push for schools to reopen.
We cannot indefinitely stop 50 million American children from going to school, harming their mental, physical, and emotional development.
The CDC today issuing broad recommendations for classes to resume, calling for enhanced sanitation, social distancing, repurposing other buildings, moving classes outside, and keeping small groups together throughout the day. But that does not ease the concern of many parents and doctors.
Here's the bottom line. When community transmission is high, it is risky to open schools.
So much seems so risky right now, with infections and fears growing across the country.
That was our Gina Lamont. As local governments and parents debate whether their children should return to school in the fall, Colorado officials are warning about multi-system inflammatory syndrome. Colorado officials confirmed 2 children under the age of 10 have died from this mysterious illness linked to coronavirus. There have been 7 total cases in the state.
They were all under the age of 10. They had been ill for approximately 2 to 3 days with a fever, a rash, redness of their eyes and the palms of their feet.
Children diagnosed with the syndrome were likely exposed to COVID-19. Experts say parents should not panic, but be aware of any developing symptoms. When we come back, Mike has a look at the forecast because we made it to the weekend. Mike.
Sarah, it was another wonderful day in our neighborhood. It looks like we're going to carry this trend into the weekend, but it's not all puppies and rainbows across North America. We are tracking some very active tropics. I'll give you the details on the Atlantic and the Pacific when we come back. Welcome back. Well, we promised you a live camera, and here it is. This is your Agua Caliente Casino Cam showing a wonderful evening out there. Once again, some moisture hanging out around the base of the Banning Pass. That has been a real serious issue for our friends along the coast over the past couple of days. Marine layer was thick again this morning, about 2,500 feet. That has allowed some clearing in the afternoon, allowing temperatures to warm slightly along the coast. So if you do have some travel plans there this weekend, that is what you can expect. Here's what we are looking at in the big picture. I got infrared zoomed way out because we got a lot to talk about. Douglas, major hurricane bearing down on the Hawaiian Islands. I got some good-ish news there. We're also watching Hannah and Gonzalo out into the tropics there, and you can see there is some serious flow. In fact, there's a new storm just coming off the Cape Verde Islands that looks like it's got potential to grow as well. So let's break it down here. I'll tell you more about Douglas in a moment. Gonzalo, tropical storm, is expected to strengthen to a Category 1 hurricane. Good-ish news. It's staying away from Puerto Rico, but it's not a victimless crime. We do still have some islands there called the windward islands that look like they will take either a low category 1 storm or a tropical storm right on the nose. And then as it moves into this area between Jamaica and the Caymans, it is expected to dissipate, but that's some pretty warm water. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Hannah is a tropical storm. Looks like it's going to impact the Texas coast there. Like Corpus Christi could get between 4 to 8 inches of rain there and some very gusty winds, currently sitting at 52 miles an hour sustained, may strengthen to a low category 1 overnight tonight. We'll watch that. And Douglas is the big story out in the Pacific here. This is a scary storm. It ramped up to category 4. Remember, there's only 5 categories, so this is a major hurricane. As it moves closer to Hawaii, it is expected to weaken, but still the jury's out as to whether it's going to hit as an upgraded tropical storm or a category 1. It's going to bring some heavy rain and some heavy winds. It looks like current forecast models have it moving in as a 75 mile an hour sustained. That would be a low category 1 with gusts up to 92. There's going to be a lot of storm surge there and a lot of heavy rain. We'll give you some updates over the weekend. We were talking about that patchy fog in the marine layer. That was an issue this morning. It will be an issue every morning, but latest model runs look like it's going to thin out a little bit this weekend. If you do want to head to the coast, it'll be cool, but you will see some afternoon sunshine. In fact, they're seeing some right now. 74 in LA, 73 in San Diego, and those water temperatures are in the 50s as well. If you're looking for cool, you'll find it at the coast. Currently 102 in Thousand Palms, 101 in Coachella, 87 in the Yucca Valley, and 73 up in Big Bear. We're going to see those winds gust up tonight, switch around to the northwest, get up to about 30 miles an hour, and then wind down at midnight tonight. And it's going to be a very pleasant evening leading into a very pleasant day. Once again, temperatures will be right on the money as far as 30-year averages go. 108 is our number in Palm Springs and Indio. Looks like we're going to warm up as we go towards next week. In fact, high pressure builds in on Tuesday, takes us back into the 110s again, and keeps us there through Friday.
Nearly half of Americans laid off during the pandemic now believe those jobs are never coming back. 47% of Americans to be exact. They say their job is gone for good. Back in April, 78% of people in a household that suffered a job loss thought the setback was only temporary, but that's changed. A new economic report from Yelp says a shocking 60% of restaurants that temporarily shut down have since permanently closed. Many small businesses have tried to adapt with online ordering and curbside pickup, but the report says it was not enough to keep the doors open. We'll be right back after this. And another reminder about our QR code. Check it out right here on my left-hand side. If you missed any of our top stories, just point your smartphone's camera at this square and you'll be able to find stories, all our social media sites. Get in contact with us right online by scanning this. Have a great night. We'll see you back here at 6 after NBC Nightly News.